We are live. We are talking touchdowns, and we are ready to nuke the house. Another successful weekend, JC. We did great. I told you that Friday show, you put me on 3 winners that we talked through. You put me on the Pats under, easiest bet of the year, maybe my life. I mean, I have to go back. How fun was that? You put me on
the only mistake
Jets
there was
under.
not lowering the number.
Yeah, it should have been the same number as the Jets, I guess. The Jets number, and then we took Arizona +6, and the only thing I could have said is, hey, probably should have taken the money line. But, boy, you see how much a quarterback matters. As Arizona was one of the worst teams in the league. Now that they have Kyler back, I would say that they're up to an average team, and that Pittsburgh team is still a quarterback away. They lost Kenny Pickett. He's going to be out next week. On Thursday, that line is 31.5 for the Pat Steelers with no Pickett in there, JC. But let's go ahead and review everything that we saw this weekend. Oh boy, I don't have it pulled up. So why don't you give me your overall thoughts while I pull up these scores from yesterday?
Oh man, my overall thoughts is I wish this season would go forever. It's just been such an
really
handicap.
Yes, because of all the other work I'm doing, I'm okay with it.
I mean, no, I hear you from that end, but it's just like these unders, these large spreads. It's just so easy. It's. I don't know, man. Like I don't know if I'm just getting better at this, but it's as good as it's ever been for me. Let me tell you how good my betting day was. For some reason, Fanatics gave me a $3 bonus bet. So I was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with a $3 bonus bet? Because you can't like stack it or anything. It's not like I can just whatever. So I parlayed all my morning picks and I turned $3 into a full unit. It was I just couldn't miss. And these unders, these teams covering, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun time to be a part of Nuke the House. I'll say that.
All right. Well, of course, you can be part of Nuke the House. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Of course, Kev is going live, crushing the live betting. And if the link in his bio is going to send you where you can find all his picks on the spreadsheet. And he's doing amazing things here. Oh, is my computer freezing up?
Yep. You might be all right.
Maybe, I guess not. All right, JT, let's dive. We've already talked about it, but you talked me into Arizona +6. That game was delayed, but Cardinals end up getting the win 24-10. The difference, of course, to me is the quarterback play. I was low on Kyler, but with the way that quarterbacks have kind of the level of play has dropped, I mean, I think he's viable now. As some of these other elite quarterbacks are beginning to show some weaknesses. I don't think Mahomes has gotten any worse, but his supporting cast definitely has, and this is a team game. Josh Allen showed some flaws without Brian Daboll. Trevor Lawrence is good, but he's not necessarily yet carrying a team, right? CJ Stroud, great story. But you got to put Kyler Murray, and I hate doing this because I had so much fun slandering him for most of his career, but you got to move him right back into the top 10, and he showed it yesterday. Your thoughts on the Cardinals taking out the Steelers?
Top 10 is a bit strong. I mean, obviously great showing.
I see another show coming.
Very impressive that they managed to put 24 points up on Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. I have to pull up the numbers. I'm not sure how many teams have done that this season. Not many. But, I mean, Murray only threw for 145 yards. 13 for 23. I mean, yeah, it was, he looked decent out there. Like, no interceptions, nothing stupid. But still, that's not top 10 quarterback material. A win's a win. You take what Arizona's not going to complain, but I'm not prepared to make any drastic statements about Kyler Murray.
All right, I am, because I'll tell you what. This is where I think the statistics can kind of make things. I know he didn't throw for a lot, but how many plays did he extend that any other quarterback would have been sacked, and we would have been looking at one of those ridiculous unders in my mind if he wasn't out there. Pittsburgh could have won 10-6, right?
Consider, but
yeah. So, all right, Trubisky will be the quarterback going forward. I don't know if I told you on or off. I mentioned this already. It's 31.5 for the Steelers game on Thursday night. I've said it about 5,000 times this morning. Did you already bet the under?
Yeah, I already bet the under.
All right, there you go. Sneak preview, because JC won't be back with us until Friday, but JC likes the under on the Thursday night game. Another game that went under was another game that we bet with a explosive 6-point second half. as the Atlanta Falcons defeated the New York Jets 13-8. I thought the Jets were good. Money line pick. I ended up not getting there because the under was such a better play. And why am I going to grind like the slightest edge when I can grind these big edges? And it was apparent during the game the Falcons were the right side. My buddy and I jumped on the Falcons second half as the Jets are stupid for benching Zach Wilson. And I know we can trash Zach Wilson all we want. But I mean, like, for what? It's just like these guys that want to fire their coach. Like, for example, this morning I saw some guy arguing with HP Basketball about firing Taylor Jenkins in Memphis, and he just kept answering, well, who are you going to replace him with? You know, and I feel that's what happened here with Zach Wilson. Like, yeah, he wasn't very good, but these other options are even worse. I mean, at least Zach Wilson has mobility and can move in the pocket. So
I don't blame the Jets for anything they've done to this point. Like, it wasn't working with Wilson. You had to try something else. So why not give Boyle a try?
Did you really though? Because look at what the Packers did last night.
Sure, but also, I mean, it's how long are you going to run with Wilson when it's not working? And if you think there's a chance with Boyle, give him a shot. But also, too, very unfair to Boyle to put him in against Miami and that ferocious defense, and then be like, "Oh, we're done here." Like,
Miami's not ferocious. You guys are good. It's not like you're the Browns or the Steelers or the Niners.
Okay. Still, though, okay, then fine. You gave it a shot. It didn't work out. And what's kind of funny, Spread, is I didn't know until I turned on the game that Trevor Siemian was starting. And I was a little worried about the under. I was like, oh, man.
You didn't know that?
No, I thought they were running Boyle again. I thought I asked on the show.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that was a late thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Because I thought I asked you that because I was like, Boyle, Wilson, and I said, it doesn't matter. Just take the under. But yeah, it was like, you know, you got to try something. It's not working. Nothing's working. So I don't think you can blame them for trying something different. Sure, hindsight, we can say stick with Wilson. Maybe you would have had a shot in certainly this game against Atlanta. I don't think it would have mattered against the Dolphins. But it's, you know, they're in a crappy situation. What was supposed to be a great season got shattered week 1. And, you know, you make do.
Tyler, good to see you. Good morning / afternoon. What do you think? Did the Jets make a mistake by going away from Zach Wilson? I believe they did because the options were worse.
They were dead anyway, regardless once Aaron Rodgers went down. So it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, what are we even talking about?
But I mean, Jordan Love
you can't blame him for trying something different.
Like coming around because they had confidence in him and they allowed him to work through his mistakes.
It wasn't his fault, not 100%. He had a banged up offensive line and banged up weapons. Zach Wilson just sucks.
All right. Let's not spend too much time on this. Anything else you want to say, Tyler? The only other game we talked about was your Pittsburgh Steelers losing to the Arizona Cardinals. Any thoughts on that one? And then we'll keep moving.
No, I mean, it was lined up as the perfect game. Tomlin loses. He loses to the 2-10 team. Can't beat them. Then they got this ugly matchup on Thursday night with New England. So they suck. Their record says 7-5, but who knows how they finish with Pickett hurt now. And if you watch the Jets and the Falcons game, call that gambling number.
I watched it. I guess I'll have to make a phone call right now. But I'll do that after the show. We continue to review what we saw yesterday and then, of course, look forward to tonight's game. The Texans and the Broncos, Tyler, was the game worth watching. I don't have to call the number for that game as C.J. Stroud is able to overcome a late charge. I thought Russell, that would have been huge for him if he was able to get it there in the end. But he threw another interception. Some of those doubts are going to resurface. The Broncos win streak ends. The Texans, they continue to improve under head coach DeMeco Ryans and, of course, the development of C.J. Stroud. Your thoughts, Tyler, as the Texans get the win and improve to 7-5? What you got for me, Tyler? Are you muted?
No, he's not muted. It's just...
No, can you hear me? I think my computer's freezing up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Give it a try, and if not, we'll go to JC. All right, JC, what do you think on the Texans game?
I mean, you know, we kind of went back and forth when we were talking about it on Friday, and Russell Wilson just didn't show up. I mean, throwing 3 interceptions, it's you're not going to win against good teams when you're throwing 3 interceptions. His gameplay wasn't as bad as his numbers would indicate, But and losing by 5 isn't devastating. It didn't look terrible. I think this Houston team, man, they really seem to get better every week, though. Great win for them. Certainly don't want to overreact to the Denver loss, but I mean, it wasn't a good way to lose. I'll say that. It was certainly an ugly loss for them, given what we've seen over the past 5 weeks.
Yeah, they did definitely stunt some of their momentum there. Let's try it again, Tyler. One of the biggest games on the slate yesterday was the Texans getting that win over the surging Denver Broncos. They put an end to the Broncos' 5-game win streak.
Yeah, my complaint of the day. Why the fuck does every website have to have 19 pops-ups, 6 videos playing, and 19 emails it's got to send you the moment you click on the websites? Like, Jesus Christ. Open 4 websites.
I know, dude. I was thinking, because RotoWire is so ridiculous, I got to download it now.
For instance, right now, I'm on StatMuse. There's an ad playing on the side for Charles Schwab. There's a Sephora ad popping.
We got to download AdBlocker.
We'll do that right when it's over. Video getting played. Like,
hey, you guys got to use covers. I've been telling you for a year now, you got to use covers.
The reason I don't like covers, though, is that you have to click on each individual game. When I'm doing the show like this, I like just having one window where I can get the whole injury report for the whole week.
They have that.
Send me the link on the DMs. Let's keep it moving. The Detroit Lions, Tyler. Boy, we were victory lapping that one in the first quarter, and then they made us sweat there, but they got away with the cover. 33-28. Derek Carr once again comes up short. They're going to regret that contract. They need to move on right away. It's really too bad. He's shot, and I feel like he's better. He was better a couple years ago than he is now. Lions looked okay. I was a little worried, though, that they kind of allowed the Saints to come back in the game and to put their throat on the team. That defense still gives me cause for worry. I don't think that New Orleans offense is that good. For them to give up 28 and have the game come down to the end, just when you're looking at the Eagles, the Niners, and the Cowboys, this team can keep up offensively, but their defense is it's average, and the other 3 are elite. What are your thoughts here on the Lions and the Saints, Tyler?
Yeah, that was always the biggest thing about the Lions is they never really had a defense. Everyone wanted to peg Aiden Hutchinson as the next coming of like Myles Garrett, and he was just going to make that defense elite. He's one guy. They have nobody in the secondary. Their linebackers are kind of average. That was always the weakness of them. And it's showing as the season's coming to an end as the offense is starting to sputter too. They got the job done in the end.
They put up 33.
Their offense put up 33. The defense didn't do shit.
Oh, you're saying the defense is sputtering. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the issue here. And I know that we all love the Lions.
Up until this week, the offense was sputtering. So Goff doesn't look the same.
Oh, I understand your point. Okay.
They're not. I don't think they're a threat much in the playoffs anymore. The 3-team race in the NFC.
All right, that is fair. JC, harsh words there for the Detroit Lions. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's they're winning. It's great. They're playing better than they have in decades. It's fun to see, but the way they play against, better teams, and New Orleans isn't even a good team. You can't. Their defense doesn't get the job done. You're not going to win playoff games like that because their offense isn't good enough to even outpace, right? Like even if they had an incredible offense that could cover for the defense, then maybe, but their offense isn't to that level. So definitely could be a good fade spot when the playoffs roll around, unless Campbell's got something cooked up or they're holding something back. But it's just been ugly these past few weeks to see him allow so many points.
All right. So, yeah, it's weird. You get the win, but you're downgraded in our eyes for that performance. And I think that's why we do a show like this. We're not just looking at wins and losses. We're talking about how we're adjusting this team. Now, I feel that I was on top of this the whole time. I never bought into the Lions, so I don't feel I need to make too much of an adjustment. But the market's going to make the adjustment. And, in fact, maybe there'll be a little value on the Lions because I think the prevailing thought here now is the Lions are not one of those teams. Maybe there's a chance they sneak in and get one of those wins. JC, I thought one of the most exciting games of the day was the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. You told me you had eyes on that one. I felt that my guy, Will Levis, I've been a little bit of fan of him, although mayonnaise is gross. but he was able to duel with Minshew. They had a chance at the end. I thought they were going to get it done. They didn't. He's still a young quarterback, though. I think he's worth developing. I would go into next year with him as the starter. I think that you're fine doing that there in Tennessee. Minshew shows that he's arguably the best backup in the league. I'd say he's better than 10 of the guys that are starting right now. Zach Moss kind of had a quiet day, but he got it done when it needed. And these Colts got a huge win in Tennessee, a team that they struggled against as of late. So they kind of get that bugaboo off their back. Now they swept the Titans in their season series after losing 6 straight coming into this season, right? Because you talked about that, JC, right? Remember I said the Titans were 6-1 versus the Colts, but you said not so fast because let's sort by this year, and the Colts are 1-0 versus the Titans. Great win for the Colts. Shane Steichen's really making a name for himself as a head coach, as this team is, in my mind, overperformed expectations with Gardner Minshew, and I'd say an average defense. They lost one of the guys they're building around, Shaq Leonard. His play continued to decline. We'll start with you, JC, because I know you watched a lot of this game. Do you agree with me? Would you build around Will Levis, and what are your thoughts on the Colts going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Will Levis is going to be the next Patrick Mahomes or anything, but he's definitely shown some promise this season that he's competent. He knows what he's doing back there. He looks comfortable in the pocket. He's better at making reads than Justin Fields. So there are no glaring errors that don't look like a little progression and coaching couldn't fix. I definitely think there's some promise there. I think Tennessee had maybe higher hopes for the season, but gives you something to look forward to next season. As for the Colts, man, I think Minshew is like a Gen Z Ryan Fitzpatrick in every single essence. He's fun to watch. He's gonna get you wins. He might sneak you into the playoffs. Don't expect much past that. But this Colts is another team that's got a lot to look forward to next season, especially if Anthony Richardson is as good as we think he is, and just two teams with big potential under center, I'd say. But it's not much going on for them this season.
Tyler, what did you think of that game? Did you have eyes on it? And if you were a Titans fan, would you want to move forward with Will Levis?
I mean, I'd say he's better than some of the other spots in the league. Like, I'd take him over our quarterback, Kenny Pickett. I'd take him over the likes of Fields.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm not going to sit here and say, like, he's an elite prospect or anything, though. His performance didn't show me anything. Derrick Henry ran for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tajay Spears put up 75 yards. They ran the hell out of the ball that game. He just threw a couple deep balls to DeAndre Hopkins, but you watch that game, there was frustration between Hopkins and Levis. Like, Levis is whipping balls down the sideline that are going flying out of bounds and nowhere near Hopkins. Like, he shows potential, but at the same time, he shows why he fell in the draft.
Yeah.
Again,
I think that's another.
Well, I read it telling the draft attitude, not physical. I mean, the accuracy was known. I read that he walked in there like he was Michael Jordan, like blowing off questions and just telling it, just draft me, right? Not even answering the questions, just being really arrogant.
Yeah, I like the attitude of the kid, but when the talent doesn't back up attitude, that usually pisses off the guys that have the talent. So,
and this isn't the NBA. Talent's not going to do it alone. If you don't show that work ethic and humbleness, I think that's why teams pass on them. If anyone's going to make you humble, though, it's Mike Vrabel, one of my guys. Anything more on this game, Tyler or JC, before we move on?
I was just going to say, I think the good news for Levis, too, is I think Tennessee will re-sign Henry. And I think having that run game is huge for a young and experienced quarterback, because when you have an actual run threat, it's going to give you more time in the pocket. And I think that's going to be a difference maker between him and maybe some other young quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair. We'll go ahead and keep that under consideration.
Did you bring up Shaq Leonard on the Colts defense spread?
Yeah, I mean, I just said that's another reason I think Steichen's doing a good job, because that's someone that they thought was really be a difference maker for them. And, they released him because he simply couldn't get it done.
Yeah. Okay. I just misheard you. I thought you said they were building a defense around them. I was like, well, it's a little hard to build a defense around them.
I think they were as of 2 years ago.
No, for sure. But I thought the way you phrased it, I thought you meant right now they were building around them.
No, I'm saying Steichen inherited a defense that was built around this guy that ends up getting cut because he's not getting it done.
Yeah, I get it. I was just saying I misheard you.
Yeah. Okay, great. Chargers, Patriots. I don't have much to say. Cool little stat. This is the first time since 1938 that a team has allowed 11 or less points and lost 3 games in a row. Great job, Belichick. These Belichick trends are really getting historical now. Tyler, I don't have much to say. Just kind of just shows you the Chargers are the fraudulent team. They'll not be able to blow this out. Give that Belichick defense credit, though, because they were getting nothing, and they just kept having to going out there, and they just kept stopping them. Eckler and Kelsey, I think, are having a competition to see who's more washed, and I don't think it's their fault. I think they're both really beat up, and I don't know if they come back at this point in their careers. Your thoughts on this game, Tyler? And if you want to keep it quick, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, not going to give the defense too much credit because they were playing in a monsoon, and it's the Chargers outdoors on the East Coast in New England where they're not going to play well anyway. So the defense gets minimal credit for me. It was an ugly game. Same thing with this one. If you watch this one, it's 6-0 and no touchdown scored, call the number.
Maybe we just like defensive football, Tyler. Maybe I'm a tackling fundamental tackling enthusiast, because I saw some good defensive fundamentals out there yesterday, Tyler, and I'll have you know I enjoyed that game mainly because we made a lot of money betting it. JC, your thoughts?
No, you guys pretty much said it all. Anything I'd say would just be repeating what's already been heard.
Let's
So
move
I'll
on
allow
then
you
to
to
your
move on.
favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, who cares about the game? Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins, though. We have to. As this AFC, kind of each team is showing its weaknesses. I would have never thought I'd be saying this 5 to 6 weeks ago. This is a legitimate contender in the AFC. To me, I know the Niners are great against a very strong defense, but to me, this is still the most explosive offense in football. That was a huge win. This is what you do when you're a true contender. You don't allow these games to mess around. Like, look at the Lions. This is what the Lions' performance should have looked like yesterday. It should have been no doubt. They should have been joking on the sideline, right? Not stressing out. Talk to me about your Dolphins. Victory lap that. Great win. Never in doubt cover.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fred. I greatly appreciate you finally coming around on this Miami squad and realizing what they are here. It only took them being the number 1 seed. I'm a huge proponent of straight betting, but holy cow, parlaying Miami to cover over team total and a Tyreek Hill touchdown parlay has just been free money for weeks now. They're just winning, man. And I've said it a million times, and I'll say it one more time. Who have they lost to? The reigning AFC champion, the reigning NFC champion, and a divisional opponent that's a top dog in the AFC, or should be, right? It's not their fault that past that they've had a cakewalk of a schedule, but look out for Miami.
Tyler, throw some water on JC here. I know I gave him his props, but boy, he feels like they're going to the Super Bowl now. What do you think?
I mean, he might be right. They get the Jets at home. They get the Titans at home next week. W. They get the Jets at home the following week. That's a W. They get Dallas at home, which is going to be a very, very important game. But it's not even the most important because the following game probably decides the 1 seed. They head to Baltimore.
Yep.
If they beat Baltimore, lock it in. Because if teams got to go through Miami to play in the Super Bowl, good luck. It's not like, the cold weather and everything. It's like,
right, because that's what we were saying. We didn't think that they could get the number 1 seed and that they were going to have to go to Baltimore, Cincinnati, or Kansas City. And they might not look so explosive out there.
Good luck. I remember saying it on here, San Fran versus Miami at I think it was 100 to 1. Glad I bet that ticket after I seen what San
Looks
Fran.
great. That's a great ticket.
Yeah. So
I love that the chat is just throwing cold water on you like I thought Tyler would. Our guy Robert, who wants that cat, says they can't beat a team that's over 500. And then Richie Smalls coming with the heater, JC. This has just got to hit you right in the chin like a Tyson uppercut when he says Miami is the Dallas of the AFC.
Look, only time will tell, right? Like I said, it's an unfortunate schedule that we've had that's created this understandable narrative, but
The other thing is like, sit here and tell me they're not the most talented team on paper in the AFC.
Right.
Give me an argument for another team.
Yeah.
Who has more talent than this team on paper?
Look, our defense has gotten so much better these past few weeks, and those losses, we lost by a score. It's not like we're getting blown out by.
And also look at how these teams in the AFC have played all year. Am I scared of Baltimore? No. Right. Am I scared of the Jags? No. After what I see the Chiefs did last night with Taylor Swift in attendance, I ain't scared of them bums anymore. After them, you got the Steelers, the Colts, and the Browns. Yeah. But Miami, head and shoulders, best team on paper in the AFC.
Fucking get it. Let's get it.
This is getting disgusting. We got to move on before I throw up on the air. The Carolina Panthers ruined my perfect day, Tyler. What happened? I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. What happened? How did we lose that bet?
I didn't watch it either.
JC, did you see what happened in the Buccaneers and the Panthers?
No, I was kind of watching the score. I wasn't really watching much of the game.
I mean, to be fair, right? The Eagles and the Niners at the same time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was
we
gross.
lost.
I mean,
we don't know how.
I grabbed it pre-game at 3.5, and what a crappy way to lose a bet.
Just looking at the box score, we messed up the idea that the Panthers wouldn't be able to run. Because I see that Chuba Hubbard did have 25 attempts, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Our handicap was they won't be able to run the ball, and then we had the Bryce Young. Okay, well we lost that bet. That was our only loss yesterday. Let's move on. The Rams and the Browns. Another one I didn't watch a lot of. Stafford looked good. I think Stafford's consistently. I don't think we value how good this guy really is. Because, we talk about talented rosters. The Browns are way better at almost every other position except for wide receiver, maybe running back. They got a better O-line. They have a better defense, probably a better tight end. Tyler, what'd you think of the Rams game?
I mean, did anyone watch any of these 4 o'clock games other than the San Fran Philly game spread? Like,
I didn't.
My TV got turned on to this shit show.
Okay, cool. I thought you were getting mad at me, like I didn't do my job. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it's like screw those 2 games. Like nobody watched Carolina, Tampa, nobody watched Cleveland.
I went into UPS because I thought it was going to be an easy shift, and last week on Sunday we had all our tablets and phones set up. We were watching all the games like a sports book, and then we got smoked yesterday. So I just rewatched the Niners and the Eagles. Some of it I'd seen because obviously that was what we were paying attention to, and I rewatched the Chiefs last night. JC, did you watch the Rams, or are we just? This is gonna be a quick show.
No, it's gonna be a quick show. I saw some highlights. The kind of my only takeaway from this game is just it's kind of weird for Cleveland. Like they look like decent. Like their offense definitely improved with Flacco, but they allowed 36 to LA, and they're supposed to be this top tier defense, and they've been that. So it's just kind of a weird role reversal there.
Well, Myles Garrett didn't do anything, and I think it just shows you how much these pass rushers. What's up?
Remember, he left last. He came out of the locker room.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, that's these pass rushers are to defenses what quarterbacks are to offenses.
Yeah.
Take away TJ Watt. Steelers are no longer a top 5 defense. Take away Aaron Donald. Right, the Rams aren't a very good defense.
Take away Parsons from Dallas. That kills that defense.
Right, and so these pass rushers to me are becoming the second most important player on the team. It goes quarterback number 1, pass rusher number 2, left tackle or right tackle, depending on.
Just a perfect example of the pass rusher means so much to the team. Thursday night was the perfect example of that when Seattle was on their last drive going down. They showed Micah Parsons. They zoomed in the camera on him, and he's looking towards the sideline, and he's shaking his head no on 4th down. Well, then he lines up on the line, and he just all blitzes. My guess is he told the coach no to dropping back in coverage or something and just beeline Geno Smith, unblocked, ended the game in 1 play. If he drops back in coverage, that probably doesn't happen. And Seattle maybe moves the ball on. It's like you got to trust your edge rushers and your best players on defense.
Yeah. So let's move on to the big game of the afternoon. And Tyler, I know you thought I was going to be obnoxious today, but it wasn't a Raiders win, so I'm not. I would say, yay, I won. Cool, I'm smart. But here's my takeaway from the game, right? Because I'm not just here to brag, right? We're here to make winning bets and use the information that we saw yesterday to make winning bets, the Eagles are now undervalued. Everyone thinks that team sucks. Yep. This is the closest I've seen to like an NBA style situation. For example, if you follow Tyler and I picks, you would say, hey, we took the Sacramento Kings over the Denver Nuggets on Saturday night. Did we do that because the Kings are better than the Nuggets? No. The Nuggets will probably win the title. The Kings are probably going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. But Denver had been traveling all around. The Kings had been sitting at home waiting for them. They were rested. Denver was tired. Listen, we rarely get this in the NFL, but I feel like that happened. The Eagles came off that tough, hard-fought win over the Buffalo Bills. Coming off, how are we losing viewers when I'm giving this great breakdown right now? They beat the Kansas City Chiefs the week before that. This team has been through a gauntlet. Now they come in. The 49ers had 10 days to prepare. The 49ers were way more jacked up with all the crap they had been talking. We were going to win this game last year, right? They're the ones trailing in the standings. The Eagles actually could afford to lose that game. They beat Dallas this week. They're fine, right on track, still going to have home field in the link. Eagles are now undervalued. If you like the Eagles, I say you get them for the NFC Championship right now. I love them against Dallas this week. We just got a discount, and I'm going to be loading up on them against Dallas this week. Don't be fooled. 49ers had a great day. Tough spot for the Eagles. I'm not ready to downgrade them yet. Go ahead, Tyler, because, what do you think of what I have to say?
I mean, I think you hit everything on the head that I was going to hit. Like, it was a tough spot for the Eagles. I thought I was going to be fighting from behind right here. Like, he's going to be like, well, what happened there? But you actually seen it the right way. You seen it was the spot, but the Eagles were just in a bad spot. Hurts gets banged up in the game, which I know he came back in, but still, that slows the momentum. The Eagles team you've seen in the first quarter held San Fran to -6 yards. And then they started to veer off. It's almost like fatigue set in pretty quick. Debo had himself a hell of a game. But again, how many times are 2 screens or a handoff reversal going to be taken for 60-plus yard touchdowns? I don't think he's doing that again in the matchup when they play again. I said it in the breakdowns last week. The Eagles could have lost this game. I felt like they did what I thought one of the outcomes was going to be. They fought the first quarter. They realized San Fran was going to fight this game like it was the goddamn Super Bowl. And they looked across and said, we're 2 games up. We can lose this one. We'll beat Dallas next week, and we stay right where we're at. And they just kind of said, here's the white flag. We'll play you the rest of the game, but name your score, and you beat us by it. And that's what they did. They beat the hell out of them. I'm interested to see the rematch in the playoffs. And give me Philly all day because that line's going to be way wrong because of this outcome.
Yeah, I think you gave us an advantage to bet on the Eagles going forward. JC, you and I both like
the Niners. Like, it was like, we're going balls to the wall. They're getting everything we got. Like, no hidden plays, no none of that, to where the Eagles were like, you're not getting any of the stuff we're going to use in the playoffs. Like, you're going to get what we showed teams the last 10 weeks. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh, well, we're still a game ahead of you.
JC, you and I both like the Niners. Cool. Let's victory lap ourselves, steak, sushi, whatever you want for dinner tonight, because we will be able to spend that money. But, all that matters in this business is what you do next. How do we reevaluate these teams? I feel like bettors and the market is going to overreact here. We got a little value on the Eagles. San Francisco, boy, be careful there, because you talk about buying at a premium, right? You're buying Apple stock for $200 a share. What are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have summed it up all pretty well. It's kind of funny how having this on back-to-back weeks. Like I said last week when the Eagles played Kansas City, this is their Super Bowl. It means a lot more to them than it does to the Chiefs. They're going to come out hard, and the same thing happened here with San Francisco. I really felt like San Francisco was going to win handedly. Did not expect it to be that ugly. But I think, in the long term, they're going to be fine. You can get them right now at plus 250 to win the NFC because, I wouldn't have liked that bet last week. But after watching this game, it's going to be scrappy. It's going to be a fun, ugly game if they do end up meeting in the playoffs. And you guys preached on the value you're getting at Philly right now. As you touched on right before you tossed it to me, spread, same for San Francisco. They're a 10.5-point favorite next week against the Seahawks. What we saw from the Seahawks, they got a 10-day break playing on Thursday night. I don't think they're going to have any trouble covering that spread. Just a lot.
I won't mind sprinkling a Seattle money line in that game. Division game after you play your big game. Like, that's the perfect spot where it's like Seattle won by a field goal. How the hell did that happen?
I mean, this is why I love doing what we're doing, because it's, you do this long enough and you learn to kind of read between the lines with stuff like this.
The biggest overreaction out of this game last night. And this will have to change the name of the award and everything else if this man wins it. Brock Purdy should be nowhere near the favorite to win the MVP.
Who said that?
FanDuel's odds, DraftKings odds, BetMGM's odds.
Well, this is why I'm not an MVP guy. Remember when we, the people, used to get mad at me because MVP is stupid?
Like, that makes no sense to me. We watched this team for 3 weeks when they lost a wide receiver and a lineman fall down the drain, and he couldn't do a damn thing. He's not the MVP. He's not even the most valuable
player.
Put
him on Kansas City. They're like 4-8.
Yeah, like, no. He is the 5th most valuable player on his own team.
It's fine. It's him and Tua are in the same boat. Like, they're up there in the voting, but it's McCaffrey and Hill that should really be considered the MVPs for their team. So if you want to give an award to that team, it should not be going to the quarterback.
And they do have it lined up pretty well with the odds, because it's Dak 3-1, Hurts and Purdy 3.5-1. So the winner of Dallas Philly next week probably drops to like plus 150 and becomes like the odds on favorite.
All right. Well, I think we summed up that game pretty well. Don't overreact. And of course, we'll be talking about these teams' 2 upcoming games. This is the 4th week in a row now coming up, Tyler, that the Eagles are in the biggest game of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's after last year's cupcake schedule. Boy, what a turn of events here. And finally, last night, the Kansas City Chiefs fell to the Green Bay Packers. Tyler, I've been victory lapping all freaking day. But call me Luigi. I'm taking the L on this one. Bro, Jordan Love is I would say he was that bad, remember? He's pretty good now. And watching that made me think, boy, did they just maybe these talented guys, you let them play through some mistakes. Did they give up on Zach Wilson too early? Could this have happened to him?
No, they didn't give up on Zach Wilson too early.
In him.
But
what's up?
We don't
need to go into that. Talk about Jordan Love. Talk about the resurgence of the Packers.
Let's hit the rewind button all the way back to the season breakdowns on Green Bay when I was like, we talked about Jordan Love, and I said, man, this is going to sound bad the way this comes out. But his comparison in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes, a gunslinger that's going to give you a bunch of shots downfield. Sometimes they can turn into interceptions. He's maybe not as talented, but the play style is there. When he is playing at this level, he is going to be a very tough quarterback to beat. But then there's going to be weeks where Jordan Love steps on the field. This is where he falls off from the likes of Mahomes, because Mahomes doesn't have weeks like this very often, if any, where Jordan Love's just going to throw 3 picks and look like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. So he's going to have his highs. He's going to have his lows. When he's at his highs, good luck betting against him. When he's at his lows, fade the hell out of him. But good luck playing that game, trying to figure those out. Fun fact, since 2019, Green Bay, 19-0 in the month of December.
Wait, what?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Why don't we talk about that on Friday? JT, what were your thoughts on last night's game?
Because
after the Chiefs teasers were locked in and my Chiefs money line parlay was locked in and it popped up on the screen, I said, well, I'm dead.
Well, dude, you brought that up. I just scoffed. I said that's an Aaron Rodgers stat. That's not a Green Bay Packers stat.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how much we would. Yeah, that's a great point, right?
I mean, I don't really know what to make of this game. Like, I don't. Certainly don't want to overreact.
It was fun, man. I was happy not to have a blowout. We've had so many
for sure. But I don't want to overreact. But I feel like I might be underreacting to the Packers.
How do you
I feel like Love played a good game, but I don't know. I mean, like, Zach Wilson played a great game against the Bills week 1. He had a decent game against the Chiefs.
Now, but all those takes that I had where it's like, oh, NFC playoff picture is kind of locked in. It's just seeding.
Oh, no.
Seattle's on the outside and Green Bay's on the inside now.
Yeah. And the way they're playing right now.
I don't think the Rams should be counted.
You know
out.
who's actually secret? Yeah, I was just about to say, and don't count out the Rams either, because they've got the best quarterback of those three teams. I think I can't say it about Pete Carroll. I got a really good coach too, though. They're down there.
Dallas is going to get a free pass in round 1. They're going to play the NFC
end up
South.
Playing the NFC South.
Yeah, they're going to draw Atlanta, the Saints.
Did they do that last year and they went into Tampa Bay and just smoked them?
Yeah, they smoked.
Yeah.
They smoked.
Yeah.
Imagine they play Atlanta in round 1. What's that spread? 10? 10.5?
Yeah.
10 to 11.
And I'll lay it. I'll gladly lay it.
Road favorite 10.5.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is,
that's what it was against Tampa last year, and it was like 31-3.
I swore it was like -3.
No, was it?
And if the Lions end up catching like a Seattle or an LA, I'd probably fade the Lions.
All right. I don't know. It might be a little too far for me there, but of course, we'll be moving into that a little more when we know the seedings. Guys, do we have any more?
What was that, Tyler?
I would take Green Bay against the Lions in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That defense does not scare me for Jordan Love. I think he can stay calm and keep the ball alive on his offense. Like, yeah, that could be a game they can win.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be talking about those more. But do you guys have any more thoughts from what we saw yesterday before we move into tonight's brilliant showdown between the Bengals and the Jaguars?
Bet the under.
No, just one other fun little argument. It's football, but it's not NFL. Did they get the playoffs right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I texted spread on Saturday night after that Florida State game ended. I was like, FanDuel has Alabama plus 116 to make the playoffs. I was like, tell me why I shouldn't just unload the clip on this.
You should, yeah. It's you can't have 55 passing yards in a championship game and expect to be in the playoffs. I think coin flip between Alabama and Georgia.
Nobody wanted to argue
that all day long.
Versus Iowa for the second time in a row.
Yeah. Exactly. You can argue. Like I felt like it was Georgia got a little shaft, but Georgia was probably more shaft than Florida State was.
I agree.
Oh, I definitely agree about that too, especially as defending champs. Okay.
If you wanted the best 4 teams, it should have been Michigan, Georgia, Bama, Texas. Not in that order, just those 4 teams. And Washington could have also been left out, but you couldn't leave them out.
You can't leave out Washington. They're going to win it all.
No, Alabama's going to win it all.
Unfortunately, I hate Nick Saban more than anyone in this world. But
so pissed.
Good luck stopping 6'5" Lamar Jackson that's playing quarterback for them right now.
Good luck stopping.
And that defense for Alabama, yeah, good luck.
Has Washington played anyone outside of the Pac-12?
Maybe just beat Oregon, who's badass.
Oh, they're the Pac-12 spread. Anyone not in the Pac-12?
I don't know. I don't really know a lot about college football. I kind of just talking mess because I like the Huskies. All right, guys. One more stupid question. How far will Travis Kelce drop in best ball or in fantasy drafts next year? What round would you put him in? Like, is he a 3rd rounder now?
Better question is he still the first tight end off the board?
Ooh,
I say no.
That is a much better question. Hawkinson?
Hawkinson.
I mean, Andrews is already hurt for the year.
Hawkinson, I may have the hot take of just being like, give me Laporta. 2nd-year explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of tight ends, we had a Jimmy Graham sighting this weekend. That was pretty great.
Did we?
Jimmy Graham.
I watched that game. I did see you scored that one touchdown.
Jimmy Graham more receiving touchdowns than Deontay Johnson this year. Clap it up, Steelers.
Oh my god!
I know. I still think. People. I still think Kelsey's a name. He's one of those guys that he will still go probably 2nd round. Like there's someone who will roll the dice, or it's still like the big name. So I don't think it's a huge.
You know what's going to happen here? Well, not exactly here, but like in the NFL, this is what's going to happen. As Kelsey starts to lose a step and fall off, they're going to look around and be like, "We need to get Mahomes a new tight end." And they're going to look to the likes of Atlanta and steal Kyle Pitts and bring him there and unlock him. What the hell was he doing in there just rotting?
And that's going to help out Kelsey so much. If you got to figure out how to cover Pittman and Kelsey, that's like, it's going to give him a bit of a rebirth.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's dive into tonight. The Jacksonville Jaguars are favored by 10 against the Cincinnati Bengals, who will be starting Northern California legend Jake Browning. The total here is 40. Tyler, can the kid from Folsom High keep it close?
Maybe. Just because the Jags defense is kind of not the best. But last time Washington made the playoffs and we seen this guy play a football game, he ain't scored a single point. So it'll be fun to see him on the field. He's got some nice weapons on the Cincy side, but I think the Jags win this one in the end. I like a Christian Kirk touchdown. Etienne's banged up. I just don't think he gets all the carries, so I'm not going to target the running backs. Christian Kirk touchdown and win. Maybe a Jag same game parlay where you knock the spread down and push the total up a little bit. But that worries me with their defense a little bit. So probably just the Christian Kirk one is it for me.
All right, JC. I wanted to take the 10 points, but I feel like I'm betting with my heart, not my mind. You're unbiased. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, no, I can't get there with the points. I'm not saying it's a spot here for the Bengals, but I'm just not prepared to lay 9.5, 10, whatever it currently is for the Jaguars. So what I did, I think it's more of an over spot, but again, couldn't quite get there with 40. So what I did, I took Jacksonville minus 5.5, over 34, caught it at even money. I just think, it should be an easy win for Jacksonville. And it just, I think it's gonna be more of an over. I was tracking with Tyler till he said toss it up and do an under. I think we're gonna see a fair amount of points here.
Right.
That's why I was
under
worried.
trend ends tonight.
They do.
Go ahead, Tyler. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I was saying that's why I was more worried about doing that same game parlay and getting up into the 50s and taking the under. But the
problem is that Browning just ducks out. I mean,
but anytime I've tried to go lower and get into the lower 40s and go over, I've watched just the shitter games happen. So
but this is already low enough. I don't think this is gonna be.
Really, if you want to make a safe bet, shouldn't you just take the Jaguars team total over, and then you don't have to worry about whether or not the Bengals move the ball?
Yeah, I think you're fine either way. Because I don't think the Bengals are going to get shut out. I don't think Jacksonville's that good. So I don't want to rely completely on Jacksonville because they've, been known to kind of let down, at least in the point department. They're not ones to light up the scoreboard.
Tyler, talk to me about props tonight. Do you have anything that you're circling? I know you talked about Christian Kirk a little bit earlier. Do you have any other players on your radar?
No, it was just Christian Kirk for me. I mean,
JC, are you going to play any props tonight's game because they've effectively made it a tough price to just bet the spread?
Yeah. So I'm going with interceptions. I think both guys are poised to throw one. I parlayed both guys to throw an interception, paying out 2-1. However, MGM has a nice offering. You can just take over 1.5 interceptions in the game. Pays out plus 120. I think either's a good look.
All right, great way to look at this game for sure. Tyler, any final thoughts here before we wrap it up? Do we want to discuss some NBA real quick? I didn't do my projections yet. You're muted. And yes, Tyler off too much. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited, guys, to be here.
Yeah. So we don't have to jump on another stream to break down 2 games. I'd much rather do it here.
Yeah, let's just.
We also have JC here. We can get his breakdown.
Yeah, JC doing well in NBA as well. Here, we'll go ahead and we'll just do it. Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you by Nuke the House. We have 2 games in the NBA Cup tournament tonight. That's right. It's the quarterfinals, which means home court advantage will be in effect for the Indiana Pacers and the Sacramento Kings. The first game on the docket and the first ever quarterfinal game of the inaugural NBA Cup is the Indiana Pacers, who are +5, taking on the Boston Celtics. The total, 244, lower than usual. I guess the idea is that with the extra implications? Could this be like a play-in game or even a playoff game? So they've lowered the total a little bit. So I know that my projections will like the over. What do you think of this game, Tyler? I haven't run the numbers yet. Actually, I'll do that right now while you break it down.
This number on the total has been absolutely steamed up since this opened. What do you think this opened at, spread?
241.
235.
Wow.
Yeah, so as much as I want to click the over button on an Indiana game, I cannot bet a total that's been steamed 10 points like ahead of where it's opened. That's just too much. I can't do it. With this being quote unquote maybe a playoff game pace like type deal where the defenses could set in, one little lull in a 245, you're not going to get there. I'm on Boston here minus the 5 though. I think this is pretty easy. Like, you look, the only thing that worries me is Boston has not been good ATS on the road. They're 2-6-2. I'd have to dig a little deeper into those numbers, but I'm almost positive they've been laying bigger numbers on the road. Getting this 5 on the road isn't bad. They beat this team by 51 last time out. But Halliburton didn't play. I understand that. But still, you go to the game before that, $120-95. Game before that, 142-138. The game before that, Indiana did pick up a win, 117-112. Go right back to winning by 5, 128-123. It's just a spot where I think Boston's just much better. I don't trust these wings for Indiana to cover Jason Tatum. I think Tatum has a big game. There's that 30+ on him to win. Him to score 30+ in Boston wins at plus 125. All over that. He scored 30+, and I believe 4 of his last 6 against Indiana. He's going to get a ton of shots tonight. I think it's an easy spot where he gets up over 30.
JC, what are your thoughts here between the Celtics and the Pacers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Boston. I think 5.5 is a low enough spread. I'm comfortable laying that many points. As Tyler said, Boston has hammered Indiana in recent history. And I mean, just something about it too. Like, I don't know if we need, there's something we need to analyze with it being, the tournament. But Boston too, man, that's just a winning franchise, right? Like they're going to go out there. They might say, yeah, we don't really care about this tournament, but someone's got to win
I
it.
flipped on that take, JC, whenever they went out there and they looked at the Bulls and they said, we got to win by 30+, and they just proceeded to just pound them. I was like, oh, they actually care about the tournament. Like, they won.
Yeah, I think these teams care more than we're giving them credit for.
The thought was,
okay,
if
I'm sorry,
Boston being the franchise they are, they're going to go out there and say, someone's got to win this thing. May as well be us. They want to win everything. So though its significance isn't great, they're not going to let someone else beat them to a trophy. So I think it's should be a good smash spot for Boston.
And just running this through my head, game flow wise, even if the Pacers get this pace where they want it and they're running up and down, that's just going to give these 3-point shooters for Boston more and more chances to huck up threes. If they catch fire, the Pacers better not miss, because Boston's just going to run up that score and they're going to get close to 155 like they did last game. So the pace could be, in the end, the Pacers' best friend in every other matchup and its worst enemy in this matchup.
All right. Well, then, pace be the worst enemy of the Pacers. Tyler, my projections actually want me to take the points, but it's not a huge edge. I had this game projected at 121 to 117. A little bit of an edge to the under, but I feel like you're purely gambling there because I think you're just assuming that it's going to be a playoff-style game, and I don't necessarily know if you can make this assumption. The Pacers have been able to run and win, right? And it's not like the Boston can choose to play either way. I don't think the Pacers can. The Pacers are going to have to outscore you.
They have to run and gun. And when they run and gun Boston last time, they ran them to 155 points. Like, that's my remember spread. We bet that one game earlier in the year. I believe it was the
through the projections, it's over or pass, right?
Yeah. I'm just
this
running this
bet
through
the
my
over
head.
or no?
No, I'm not betting the over. But I'm trying to run this through my head as an example of earlier game we played earlier in the year. We bet the Spurs against the Clippers because they were getting, I think, 7 points. We thought the pace of the Spurs would be the detriment of the Clippers. But in the end, Russ was able to keep the pace up for the Clippers, and the Clippers ran up the score. We've seen the example already happen here with Boston and the Pacers. I don't see the Pacers playing any other way but trying to push the pace. So I think they just run themselves out of the gym again.
All right. Let's move on to the next game. The Sacramento Kings are, let me check the current line, -3. Tyler, when we talked about this on the show on, was it Thursday? We said, hey, that line of 5 is too much. The market agreed. They moved it back down to 3. I think this number's about right. On this playbook, I have it projected as a 3-point win, 117 to 114. Once again, I don't trust my numbers on the totals. You know what's funny? I was talking about the totals are getting dialed in. I don't know if they're getting dialed in on my projections or we're just knowing to ignore them a little more because I'm fine throwing them out here. To me, this seems like another over game, although the Kings and the Pelicans have gone under in 4 of their last 5 games against each other. What do you think here? Will I be driving home looking at a beam tonight, Tyler?
It's going to be a dark sky for you, spread.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I'm on the
Why?
Pelicans here. That lineup the Pelicans are going to send at you is just going to cause so many problems. The defense they're going to send at you guys is going to slow down the guards for Fox. Sabonis is going to have some troubles on the inside with the bigger bodies in there. I just think New Orleans is a bad matchup for you guys. There's a couple teams in the NBA when the Kings play them, it's just bad matchups for them. This is one of them. Another key stat here, 4 of the last 5 times these teams have played, the underdogs won the game outright, regardless of spot. Pelicans win this game outright. Zion has a big game. The Zion 25+ and win plus 255. I'm on that. I know Keegan Murray's back. I don't think Keegan Murray can cover a guy like Zion. He's going to get in the paint. He's going to get his points, get to the free throw line. Ingram's going to be a problem on the outside. The defense for the Pelicans in the end wins them this game.
JC, your thoughts when the Sacramento Kings take on the New Orleans Pelicans here in Sacramento?
I was leaning Pelicans. I didn't like them as much as I like Boston, but Tyler kind of pushed me over the fence here. Another stat worth mentioning is that they've already played twice this year. And in those 2 games, the Pelicans outscored them by 41, I think. Yeah, they beat them by like.
Didn't Fox miss those games, though?
Huh?
Didn't Fox miss those games, though?
I believe he missed the first one, not the second one. He missed the one they blew him out 129 to 93. I believe he played the 117-112 victory for the Pelicans.
Normally I'm kind of like, if this was just a regular season game, I'd kind of maybe think, all right, it's the Kings' turn to turn it around on them. But it kind of shows New Orleans has their number in a game with meaning like this. I don't expect too much of a change. It's just enough of a stat to give you that push if you're not sure which direction to go.
Look at that injury report for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
It's green. It's not red. Everyone's back except for Larry Nance. The defense is going to be a problem. Trey Murphy's back to score off the bench too. CJ's back. This team's going to be a problem.
All right. Terrible news, but I understand as you're saying, and I believe that you guys could have a good shot here. Tyler, I think I'm freezing up, so I'm going to let you take us out of here, all right?
Yeah. Those 2 performance levels I talked about, the Tatum 30+ in Boston win and the Zion 25+ in New Orleans wins, throw those in the parlay, you get a plus 700 on FanDuel. We'll be doing that. I think that's nice. A good bet. I'll also be on their props, their point props over. I like the Tatum over points and rebounds that our guy Richie Small said in the chat at 40.5. That is a spot I like too. I think it's a good night. I think our Jags plays win. I think Christian Kirk scores a touchdown in the end. We're going to win all these bets tonight. And we're going to let our guy JC give us the words of wisdom.
Hell yeah.
Something in the bank. So
absolutely. Close it out of here. I just got to say, you can always trust a dishonest man to be dishonest. Honestly, it's the honest man you have to look out for because you never know when he might do something stupid.